Hello, this is Michelle Oliver, and this is day 2 of our 30-day challenge to revision your life. And this challenge is based on a workshop of the same name, and also a monthly intensive that I do of the same name. So what we're doing here is really a public challenge for women in midlife or anybody else who happens by. And the challenge is kind of the top level things that I will share with you as quickly as possible for you to implement as quickly as possible so that you can really have some results. So day 2, your task over the next 3 days, and I'm going to be talking about this for the next 3 days, is to make a list of 10 things that you want in your life. Now, nothing we're talking about is anything, groundbreakingly new, but the difference is that you're actually going to do every task every day, and then you're actually going to get some results that are going to allow you to move further, move faster, and do it with more fun. So your task for the next 3 days is to, first of all, make a list of 10 things that you want in your life. And the next task after that, maybe I'll wait and tell you tomorrow. Maybe I already told you yesterday, so I'll tell you now. So 3 things, a list of 10 things you want in your life. Number 2, 10 more things that you want in your life that cover every category: physical, mental, spiritual, financial, relationships, everything, career, everything you can think of. And then number 3, 3 moonshots, or, if I handed you the magic wand, 3 magic wand desires, heart desires that you want. And what I want to talk to you about today is getting reasonable about being unreasonable. And what I mean by that is, most of the time in the world, when you hear this idea of you really need to use your imagination, and if you talk about that like in a corporate setting or whatever, I've done many workshops in corporate settings, and when I say, okay, today we're going to start with being completely unreasonable and talking about imagination. So what I've learned through that is that there often are certain mindsets that really do require being reasonable about being unreasonable. And this is where all of the scientific statistics and the research and all of that come into play so that people can understand the value of imagination. Now, it's really funny because if you really think about it, all of these exercises that top athletes do to become better at what they do, and high performance exercises, high performance strategies, high performance tactics in sports have everything to do with imagination. It is absolutely no different than in business or in your personal life. So if you have any kind of issue with coming into this and playing with me, just understand that this is where the flow happens. This is where everything happens before anything else can happen. And it also is the absolute powerhouse that will allow you to move into the actions that you're going to be literally compelled to take. You're not going to have to force yourself to do these things. So over the next 2 or 3 days, talking about reason, talking about imagination, doing those exercises. So just a couple of points, and I just want to feed you little tiny bite-sized things to think about as you apply these exercises, and we'll see what comes out of this at the end of 30 days. But the first thing is when you've gotten to midlife, and I think I said this yesterday, but you've had trials, you've had triumphs, and you're sitting in a story of sorts, right? And everything, your condition, your circumstances, your thoughts, your behavior, everything about your world is constantly informing you of what your life is about, of like who you are, what you do, and who you live with and where you live. And it's constantly reinforcing and informing your story. So I imagine that you would agree with me that if you are to move beyond that story, that you have to think differently, you have to act differently, you have to have a different experience, you have to be able to go into your imagination and imagine things to be different, imagine what you want. And so here's the thing about imagination. Within your mind, you can literally give yourself any kind of experience you want. You can think about anything. You can, like back to our Cinderella song, you can be whatever you want to be. You can also control or manipulate or vision, imagine things, people, circumstances, and conditions in any way that you want to do it. And this is what the next few days are going to be about. I don't want you just to write down randomly. I mean, that's the first 10, right? You just write it down. It's kind of like doing an initial free write. If you're going to write a book or write an essay or something, you just want to mind dump it, brain dump it. And then you want to stretch it and go a little further. And then you want to take yourself all the way to the moon. Why? Because you absolutely can. And this, although it may sound silly, even when I've worked with VPs and CEOs and women from every walk of life, truly, we all have a tendency when we hear that to think, oh, imagination means it's not real. When in fact, imagination is where everything in reality begins. So I want you to, and maybe I'll start sharing like statistics and stuff, but data. But realistically, the only way you can imagine something outside of what's already happening is to be unrealistic and allow yourself to be unreasonable. So you want to get out of the reason part of your brain, actually, and just let yourself not only daydream, but even take it further than that. And there are so many tools you can use. I mean, think of like Silva mind control, which that's been around since what, the 70s or something. And I mean, there's so many things, so many ways, but I'm going to walk you through some ways that I use within these workshops. So this is how we start. And again, when you're thinking about it, when you get to your moonshots, I guarantee there's something that's inside of you that's probably been sitting there for decades and decades. And you're going to kind of give it some air and bring it out and let it put your pen to paper and let it at least be expressed that way to begin. So imagining is where your power is. You can make kings bow to you in your imagination. You can change the way you feel, change the way you look, change the way where you live, alter how people think about you. You can alter how you feel about yourself. You can have a new career. You can change your body. You can change your mind. You can do anything you want in your imagination. And I want you to allow yourself to play, allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to think big, audacious, moonshot. The moonshot goals are, okay, hold on a second. The moonshot goals are goals that the rest of your family and friends are going to tell you that's crazy or that's absolutely impossible. And those are the very ones that you want. So, okay, day 2 of revision your life. And also in your imagination, you can revise anything. If there's anything that happened in your past that you think is preventing you from going forward, you can do that in your imagination too. You can go change the conversation, change the letter, change the response. Do all of that to free yourself up. Just trust me on this, okay? And I'll see you back here tomorrow. And I'll put the link in here. If you want to sign up officially to be a part of this challenge, you'll receive like all kinds of support materials and stuff from me, just fun things that will encourage you and support you. And if you want to also sign up for, I do a free workshop every Saturday. So you can check in on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. It's under an hour actually, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So come join us there for more support. Have a